Hello everyone. I'd like to thank you for joining us today for today's sermon from Praise Assembly of God here at 89 Congress Street. Hope you enjoyed this message, and if you have any feedback you'd like to offer, feel free to give me a call at 207-364-3856 or my cell phone 207-357-4748. Again, enjoy today's message. Thanks.
But what we try to do is every Mission Sunday to have a guest speaker here. And Dorsey, how long have we known you, brother? About 5-6 years now? Yeah, something like that. Dorsey has a very, very special ministry in sharing the good news of Jesus Christ. And how many of you, this is the first time you've met Dorsey? Oh, wow. Wow, brother. Good stuff, man. So share your testimony, too, because we have a lot of new faces here tonight. Dorsey comes from the Empire State of New York. You don't root for the Yankees, do you?
No, the Mets.
Oh. Did we let him in? We're Orioles fans here.
And Mets.
Yeah. But no, Dorsey comes from the great state of New York and has a powerful testimony in sharing his heart. God has just anointed him. I believe, Dorsey, God's anointing's been on your life for so many years. And we're just so eager to hear what God has for you. So let's give a Western Maine welcome to Dorsey Ross.
I think it's best if God's going to allow me to come back and to, maybe I'm going to here.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, if you want. Thank you guys for allowing me to Thank you guys for allowing me to come back and to minister to you guys again this morning. The title of my message this morning is, Where is Your Faith? Father God, we thank you, God, for this morning. We thank you, God, for what you have already done and the blessings that we have felt in this place already this morning, God. We love you and praise you, God, for what you are about to do in this place. Amen. Amen. I have a question for all of you this morning, and that question is, where is your faith, and what is your faith in? We all say that we have our faith in God, though there have been times, especially in my life, when we have lacked sometimes faith in God and put more faith in other things or in other situations, maybe even in something or someone else. Maybe you put more faith in money or family or marriage, relationships, even ourselves. Maybe we've done something on our own and we think, hey, I was able to do this on my own. I was able to do this thing on my own without God's help and without God's provision or without God's strength. And because that one thing that we have was able to work out, we don't think that we need God anymore. We don't think we need faith in Him anymore to do those things, or we don't pray to God as often as we need to, as often as we used to. When we are sick, we immediately call the doctors. When we get a temperature, we immediately call the doctor before we rush out and we get medicine. We rush out and we get the prescription that the doctor has already ordered for us. But one thing that we need to do is not always go to the doctor or always rush immediately to the emergency room, but we need to have faith and to pray and ask God to heal us and to touch us.
Right.
Doctors are well educated and well respected. We can usually find out what is wrong when we go to the doctors. but the doctors don't always know everything. They don't always know what exactly is wrong with us. We need to go to God first and ask Him to heal us, to heal our bodies, to take away the pain, the illness, the difficulties that we are going through. We can take that step of faith and see what happens. Because when we are sick and when we run to the doctor, we're not taking our faith off of God and putting the faith in the doctor, or putting it in medicine, or putting it in, whatever else that might be. Now hear me on this, I'm not against doctors. I go to doctors all the time. I have to go to the doctor for my stomach, for my stomach problem I've been having. I have to go for another endoscopy test at some point in the near future. But sometimes we need to go to the greatest physician of them all first. I'd like you to open with me to Luke chapter 8, verses 22 and 25. And it says, Now it came to pass on one of those days that they entered into a boat, himself and his disciples. And he said unto them, Let us go unto the other side of the lake. And they walked forth. But as they sailed, he fell asleep. And there came down a storm of wind on the lake, and they were filling with water and were in jeopardy. Now I'm going to stop there and give you a little background about this type of water, this type of place where Jesus and his disciples were. They were on the Sea of Galilee, and in the area they were in, storms came up suddenly and in an unusual pattern. And they came for no apparent reason. The sea was also several miles wide and several miles long. So when you're out in the middle of this lake or out in the middle of the sea, there was no way for them to get back to the land. Not only was the storm came out of nowhere, the boat even started to take on water. Now, verse 24 says, And they came to him saying, Master, Master, we perish. And he awoke and rebuked the wind and the raging of the water, and they ceased. And there was a calm. And he said to them, Where is your faith? Let's talk about the question. Jesus asked his disciples, Where is your faith? We can see in the same verse of 25 that the disciples asked him, Who is this man? Who is this man that even the winds and the waves obey him? I want to ask you today, who do you say that Jesus is? Who do you believe that Jesus is? Do you believe that he is the Lord of Lords? Do you believe that he was a prophet? Do you believe that he is the Savior? Will you be right when we say that Jesus rose again, that he died for our sins, that he rose again on the third day? Then why do we doubt that nothing will be impossible for him? When Jesus tells his disciples in Matthew chapter 17, verse 20, and he said to them, Because of the littleness of your faith, for truly I say to you, if you had faith the size of the mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, Move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible to you. All we need is a small mustard seed of faith, and God says that nothing will be impossible for us. Let me stop there for a minute and give you guys a little background of my testimony. I was born on January 16th, 1977 with a birth defect called Aplis syndrome, which is a birth defect of the hands and the face. I get a little water. When I was born, my forehead was pushed outward, my eyes and nose were pushed back into the head, and my fingers and toes were fused together. I had no individual movement of them. And my skull or my sore spot was already fused together, meaning I had no room for my brain to grow. And after the doctors, rushed me off and examined me, my parents weren't even allowed to hold me or to see me. The doctors came back and said, well, we have bad news. Your son isn't going to make it. There's no way for your son to survive. The best option that we have for you is to sign the papers and to put him into institution. We can say at that point, where was my parents' faith? What were my parents going to do? My parents already had lost 2 sons at birth. My mom was 41, my dad was 45, so they were not young parents. My older sister was 21, my middle sister was 16. So they had a lot on their plate already. Thankfully, my parents said, well, we didn't believe in the God of miracles. We didn't believe that God could do great things. We didn't do that, the thing that I just read, that nothing, when we have faith, when we have trust in God, nothing will be impossible for us, or and for Him. So my parents took me home. My parents took me home, and then they took me to another hospital where the doctor said he'll have difficulties, he'll have trials and tribulations throughout his life, but he'll survive. He'll be able to make it. And at 6 weeks, I had my first of many operations. And from 6 weeks to about 5 years old, I had about 10 operations, all lasting up to 10 hours at a time. And at 5 years old, my parents for me entered a Henry Scottish school for people with disabilities. And throughout my lifetime, I've had 68 operations throughout my life. I want to go back a minute and say, and read this to you. We have another instance in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, where Jesus and his disciples are having a conversation, and they're talking about being out on the water again. Now, most of Jesus' disciples were fishermen, so they had experience being out on the water. They had experience on being out on the boats. So they had this experience for years and for decades because of them being fishermen. So we might even ask the question, well, why were they afraid of this storm? Matthew chapter 14, verse 24 says, but the boat was already a long distance from the land, battered by the waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the 4th watch of the night, he came unto them walking on the sea. When the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were afraid, they were terrified, and said, it is a ghost. And they cried out for fear. But immediately he said to them, take courage, it is I, do not be afraid. Peter said, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water. And he said, come. And Peter got out of the boat and walked on the water and came toward Jesus. But seeing the wind, he became frightened and beginning to sink. He cried out, the Lord, save me. Immediately, Jesus stretched out his hand and took hold of him and said to him, you of little faith, why do you doubt? Throughout my own life, I've had fear, I've had doubt, I've had concern about what was God going to do in my life? How was God going to use me? What was God going to do in my life? I had people pick on me, call me monster and fake, tease, point at me. As you can tell, I have a speech impediment, and I had it worse when I was younger. I had to go for speech classes and speech therapy, and I hated most of it. And as I think back on it now, even though I have a little speech impediment, I'm glad that I went through it. Because if you would have said to me, 25 years ago, I'm 38 now, but 25 years ago, hey, I see you standing on stage, standing behind a pulpit, giving your testimony 20, 25 times a year or 30 times a year throughout the Northeast, even into the southern part of the United States, giving your testimony. I probably would have said to you, you're crazy, you're out of your mind, because that's not what I had in my mind of what God was going to do in my life. I wouldn't have believed that that's what God was going to do. I thought in my own mind and my own heart that God was going to use me as a youth minister. I loved working with the youth. I loved working with the kids in the youth ministry. And that's what I had thought that that's what he was going to do in my life. We ask ourselves, Jesus talks about, you of little faith. We can ask ourselves, how many times in our lives has Jesus said to you, you of little faith, why do you doubt? We talk about, we ask, when we pray, we ask God to supply our needs, and he does, but you still doubt. We look on the TV and we see all this, financial problems that, China's having, Syria's having, Greece is having. We look at our own stock market and we worry about what's going to happen. Pastor Justin talked about the 1930s, stock market crash this morning. And we worry about that, but we need to remember and we need to have faith that God will supply our needs and he will take care of every need that we have. I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to myself as well, because I worry about what's going to happen. How is God going to supply my needs, and how is God going to take care of my situation, my family's situation. Sometimes we think about losing our jobs because the boss announced layoffs. You worry about paying the next semester of college. You wonder, how am I going to pay the bills for the next month? As I just said, yet Jesus responds that I will supply all of your needs. Just like I told you I would. Just like the disciples, you have been in your own storms, you've been in your own storms, in your own battles throughout your life. And you did exactly what Peter did. He looked around, he saw the storm, you saw the winds, you saw the waves, and you got scared. You got worried about what was going to happen. You started to see the matters crumble. You realized that you were taking your eyes off of Christ, and you began to sink back into that addiction, into the addiction of porn, drugs, alcohol, whatever it may be. Is it possible that you were once strong in your faith, and through the storm that you are surrounding, you were surrounding by, it became frightened, wondering what is going to happen, and like Peter, you began to shake, and you began to cry out, God, help me. And God said, I'm right here. I will help you. I will take care of whatever it is that you are going through. I will calm the storm that you are going through in your life. I have had storms in my own life. I have had, I said before about people making fun of me, picking on me, calling me monster and fake. The enemy, the battles that we face most of the time are not in the physical realm, but they're in the spiritual realm. They're right here between our ears. That's where the battles take place. It's the enemy trying to destroy us. The enemy knows that we are Christians. The enemy knows that we are called to tell others about Christ, that we love Christ, and that we are disciples of Christ. And the more the enemy beats on us and puts us down, the more he knows that we need to battle up and battle forward towards him, towards Christ, so that we can become more like Christ. And there were times in my own life when I wanted to give up, I wanted to end my life, I wanted to just, turn my back on Christ at times maybe. And thankfully I never did it, and I never attempted it. I may have thought about it, because that's what the enemy wanted me to do. The enemy wanted me to end my life, but thankfully I never did it, because I knew, even if it was still that small mustard seed of faith that I talked about earlier, I still knew that God had something better for my life. God had something, in store for my life, for what he had for me. Jeremiah 29:11, says, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Hebrews 11, verse 1 says, now the faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the convictions of things not seen. Now my parents had the faith and assurance to know that everything would work out. Romans 8:28 says, and we know that God causes all things to work together for the good of those who love him, who are called according to his purpose. Now what this verse is trying to tell us is that when we are Christians and when we serve God and love God and have come to a knowing knowledge of who he is, that whatever happens, whatever takes place in our lives, that something good will happen according to God's purpose and God's plan for our lives. Now my parents may not have expected to have a child with a disability or having to go through so much in my life, 68 operations. But God worked it out in the end for good. And we may ask the question, why? How did God work it out for good? Well, because he's standing here in front of you preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ. You may ask, well, how did you keep your faith? Well, that wasn't always an easy thing to do. I believe there was enough faith that great things were possible. Every single situation that happened in my life, He has worked it out for good. No matter what the situation was, that God worked it out for good. If God can do that in my life, He can do that in yours as well. James chapter 1, verse 2 and 4 says, "Consider it, O Lord, my brethren, when you encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance, and let endurance have a perfect result, so that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. With this is that when we go through tests, when we go through trials, that it's testing our faith to know and to see where our faith is and what our faith is in. And it's going to produce endurance, or another word for endurance is patience or perseverance. And we need to have that perseverance to keep going, to keep pushing forward to what God has for us. And in the end, when we see Christ face to face, face to face, that is when we become complete, lacking in nothing. There are times in our lives when our faith is not as strong as we would like it to be, or think it should be. We may even think at times that we have weak faith. We can take courage that we are not alone. Even Jesus' disciples asked, "Where's your faith?" We have others such as the centurion in Matthew chapter 8, verses 5 to 10, that came to Jesus and asking Him to heal His servant. Let's understand the background of the centurion. The centurions did not engage with the Jewish people. Not only did they not engage with the Jewish people, most of the Gentiles did not have faith in Jesus. But not only did the centurion break the code of that day, or break the boundaries of that day by speaking to a Jewish man, he did not even have faith in Israel's God. Now who does that? Who goes up to Jesus and says, "I have little to no faith in who you are, but nonetheless, I want you to heal my servant who is laying paralyzed at home." That is an amazing step of faith that shows that this man has some type of faith, even a little bit of faith in Christ, even if he was doubting or had questioned whether or not Jesus would be able to heal his servant. In verse 7, Jesus says to the man, "I will come and heal him." But the centurion says, "Lord, I am not worthy for you to enter my home." But Jesus says the word, and my servant, but the centurion says, "Just say the word, and my servant will be made well." I want that type of faith that the centurion has, that says, to be able to say, "God, heal me," and have the faith to believe that I will be healed, instead of always running to the doctors. How many of us have dealt with a health issue for a long time? I've dealt with epilepsy since I was 10 or 11 years old. Whenever I go for tests, or whenever I go for the EEG or test to see where, what's happening with my brain and see if I had any seizures lately, I get concerned, I get worried about what's going to happen, what the outcome of those tests are going to be. Did I have another seizure that did not realize it? I've come to to the realization that I may have to live with epilepsy for the rest of my life. But why? Why do I have to live with this for the rest of my life? Why do you have to live with your illness, your financial struggles, your job situations, or your loss of job, or why do you have to deal with your lack of faith, or whatever the situation you may be facing? Why do we have to live with that? Why can't we just say, God, help me in this situation, and believe and know that God will turn it around? Luke chapter 8, verse 48 through 43 talk about a woman with an issue of blood. She dealt with this issue for the last 12 years of her life. Now, I don't want to get too graphic, but in the background of the story, it's almost talking about the woman's issue of blood is almost like a PMS or menstrual period of this woman. She dealt with it for the last 12 years of her life. And because of this, she could not give any type of sacrifice in the temple because of this issue. What does she do? She makes the morning headlines in the local newspaper, like going up 2 feet and touching the hem of his garment. Now you didn't do this back in that day because this was not supposed to happen. She couldn't have touched another person. She didn't touch for the last 12 years. She wasn't able to touch anybody because she was ceremonially unclean. She even said to her in Luke chapter 8, verse 48, "My daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace." When you go through the fire and the testing in your life, it is then that your faith grows stronger. It is then that God is there by your side holding your hand. So God is not the God to say, well, your faith is stronger. You have stronger faith. I'm going to answer your prayer and not someone else's. God will answer your prayer no matter how strong or how weak your faith is. One closing question. Where's your faith? Let me give you the rest of my testimony. As I said, I wanted to be a youth pastor. I wanted to go into youth ministry. And during the end of my high school days, in my senior year, I had to have a meeting to determine what I was going to do. Was I going to go on to college, or was I going to get a job, or what was the next step in my life? Because not everyone that I was able to go to school with was able to go on to college. So my high school history teacher was there, and he said, well, I don't think that Dorsey is going to be able to make it in college. And thankfully, my parents always allowed me to figure out for myself what I could and could not do, and couldn't within very much. So, long story short, I didn't listen to that teacher. I went on to college. I entered Queensboro Community College in August of 1996. 4 years later, I entered the University of Valley Forge. Used to be Valley Forge Christian College in Pennsylvania, as I felt God calling me on to be youth pastor. 2 years into my college career, my mom passed away from difficulties of a stroke. But I still went on. Even after my mom passed away, went to the burial and everything, and I came back and I finished that semester, and 3 years later, I was able to make it. And I graduated on May 5th, 2005 with a bachelor's degree in youth ministry. And then I started to wonder what was I going to do, because the doors that I wanted to go through for youth ministry were not opening. And I was able to get my testimony at an outreach event in August of 2006. And during that time, God said, send this out and see what I will do with it. And since that time, I've been traveling around giving my testimony of what God has done in my life. And I close with this verse. Matthew chapter 17, verse 20 says, and he said to them, because of the littleness of your faith, for truly I say to you, if you have the faith the size of mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. And nothing will be impossible to you. Remember today that whatever God has for you, whatever you are going through, whatever you are facing, whatever it might be that God is calling you to do in your life, remember that with God all things are possible, and that with God without God nothing is impossible. Won't bow your head with me this morning? Father God, we just thank you, God, for this morning. We thank you, God, for this time in your word and time in your presence, God, and allow those that are here this morning knowing that, God, with you, all things are possible. God, help us with our faith in you and our trust in you, no matter what we are facing, no matter what we are going through, that, God, that you are there to help us and that you are there to take care of us and supply our needs. And when the storms arise, God, that we can go to you and we can ask you, God, to calm the storms in our life and to help us in our lives, to trust in you, God. If there's anybody in here this morning, God, that doesn't know you and that doesn't have that faith in you or know you as their Lord and Savior this morning, God, that they will come to a knowing knowledge of you. God, all they have to do is say, God, I believe that you are the Son of God. I believe that you died on the cross for my sins. I believe that you rose again on the third day. I believe I want to come to a knowing knowledge of who you are this morning, God. Loving we praise you, God, in the name we pray. Amen.
Interesting, our brother, if you look at your bulletin today,
Yes.
God's timing is perfect. Even the winds and waters obey him. Luke 8:25.
Hello. Thanks for watching today's message. Appreciate you taking the time to listen to each word of God as shared here today. I'd also like to take this time to invite you to our weekly services. Sunday school for all ages at 9 a.m., worship at 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., with Children's Church at 10 a.m. Also, we have a special men's and women's group at 5 p.m. on Sundays. During the week, we have several services as well. We have an extra innings class with me, Pastor Justin, on Tuesdays at 10. Also, Tuesday nights at 7 p.m., we have a special class on Israel in the book of Acts. Wednesday, we have a love and respect class for married couples at 10 a.m. Also, on Wednesday night, we have our family night for all ages at 6:30 p.m. And lastly, we have our food pantry on Thursdays with servings at both 10 and 11 a.m. May God richly bless you today. Thanks again for watching.